All right, moving on to Scanners 2, The New Order, which I actually purchased this Blu-ray set right here for this review, so I could watch both of these. The Blu-ray looks pretty damn good, and this is only $11 on Amazon, brand new. So definitely pick it up if you don't have it and you want to add it to your collection, because that's a damn great price for 2 Scream Factory transfers. And they are on one disc, unfortunately. The Blu-ray is each film, and then the DVD is each film. Why even need a DVD in these packs? I don't understand, but they make them. But the compression of it doesn't seem to hurt the film much. The film looks as good as I think it's going to, unless, of course, it's got some super crazy 4K transfer and this and that. I just don't feel like these films are loved enough for that to happen. The dude in the opening of this movie, the main villain of this film, is just absolutely... His name's Drax. D-R-A-K. Drac. Yeah, Drac. He's crazy looking. He's wild looking. I watched this movie like 4 or 5 days ago, but I think I got this. Let's go. So yeah, this guy's crazy, and he goes into this arcade and he starts playing a game without his hands. So he must be the grown-up version of Elijah Wood's character from Back to the Future. You mean you gotta use your hands? Oh, it's a baby's game. This has always made me laugh. Like, what do they use in the future? What, you don't use your hands at all? What do you mean? What do you use, your mind? I thought that was pretty funny. Like, I want to know what he means by that. You got to use your hands? Maybe because like you're actually touching something as opposed to like VR where your hands are just free to manipulate as it sees fit. I don't know. Of course, any depiction of the future in a lot of those films is never to be taken seriously, but and we sure as shit didn't get those Jaws movies that were promised, so they were damn off on that. And let's see, so we've got our main guy here, and he has a hot vet, a veterinarian, not a vet coming back from war, who's actually vetting him to be her boyfriend. She's coming on to him, so there's a vet vetting this guy, and of course he's like, I don't know, and she's like pushy about it. She's pretty cute, and she's a veterinarian. You know how often that happens to me? None. 0 times. I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, oh, I think I know. Come with me, Scanner. So they have a first date, and what does he bring her as a gift to the first date? A puppy. That's not a good first date gift. She seems excited about it, but I don't care what what they said in the beginning of this film with the dog and all that. I don't care. You don't bring a girl a puppy. You're not like, here's something you're going to need to care for the next 10 to 15 years of your life. Have fun. Oh, we're breaking up today? Well, here's the puppy. It's a bad first date gift. And I love how these movies, the guys always come across robberies. Something's always taking place. Some bank robbery, some convenience store. It's usually a convenience store. And convenient is the fucking, the optimum word here. It's fucking so convenient to these movies. It's like these guys have powers, so they always run into some robbery in progress. It's so fucking silly, but it is what it is. Then this robber guy, this criminal, sees some crazy shit go down, so his reaction is to throw away the hostage and take off his mask. What? You don't do either of those things. He does the exact opposite of what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to keep the mask on and keep the hostage, but he throws the hostage aside and takes off the fucking mask. What? What kind of reaction is this? But whatever. So he, the robber goes at him with the gun, and then our protagonist of this film, not the antagonist, the protagonist of this film, takes a robber and completely blows up his spine and the whole top of his head. He completely obliterates this guy from the inside, wrecking and murdering this guy right there on the spot. Now, can we argue if this is okay or not? In this kind of film, of course, we watch this kind of shit all the time. We watch Commando cut down an entire fucking army. We see these movies all. John Wick goes and kills every goddamn person he comes across. So it's not unheard of by any means. I just found it kind of funny. This is our good guy. He sees like a basic robbery in progress, and he decides to just blow the guy's head off with his superpowers, as opposed to just like incapacitating the guy as he easily could have done. But he just doesn't seem to have his powers under control at all, or he's a total fucking lunatic that just likes murdering people, and we just don't explore that enough in this movie. But whatever. And the babies are discussed a little bit from the first film, although this right here says that it's 10 years later. No, it isn't. No, it the fuck isn't. The babies in the first film are still in the womb at this point. And that's those babies. And then the babies that Revok, or the body of Revok and the girlfriend of Cameron make in the first film, is the guy here. And then his sister, who we find later in the movie. Ooh, more, connections to other characters, more relations, more lineage. Roll my eyes. But whatever, they're grown. They are like in college. They are in their 20s. So why does this say 10 years later when the first film, these guys haven't had kids yet? But then they have them. They grow up to be their 20s. So we know it's not 10 years. What is this, fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D timeline? Where you have a 20-year-old who's 40? Or 40 years have passed and the girl's only 20? Like, who knows? Who knows? I don't know why that says 10 years later. That clearly is not true. That's clearly not true. I don't understand that at all. But whatever. Anyways. And then we find out that the drugs, the ephemeral, are addictive and have horrible, devastating side effects, which we see because they're using them on his sister's boyfriend, husband, love interest, whatever. I like that when his vet girlfriend gets hurt, he goes in to see her in the hospital and just starts banging her in the hospital, which I've personally done. It's the craziest place I've ever had sex in my life is in the ER. Yes, the ER. Some people go there to have babies. I go there to make babies. True story. Regardless, moving on. Tells the nurse to get out with his super mind powers, and she's like, oh, okay, go back to the fucking. I got rounds to do. Pretty great. And he's basically a scanner cop in this movie as well. So the scanner cop idea, he's very much a scanner cop in this. I guess in the first movie I said he was a scanner cop, and I think I was thinking about this movie. In the other one, he's more of like a scanner recruiter or a scanner, influencer, but he's a hunter, kind of like a cop. He's trying to hunt down Revok, and he's going to stop him. So to me, it's kind of like a scanner cop, but this one, he's like legit, like put on a case and interrogates a guy to solve crime. So he's a straight up scanner cop in this movie. So I think what I said in the first film still kind of stands, but I meant scanner cop more for this film. But he's absolutely one in this. And then he's used for manipulation of politics, which any fucking corporation does with their super PAC money. So this is not really far off of real life right here. You just don't need a scanner to do it. You just need Citizens United to take place, and then you can fucking donate as much as you'd like, and buy any politician you got that will take your money. But he kind of circumnavigates around donating that money at all, and he just goes straight to the source, this woman's brain, as she's announcing this new chief of police. And she calls this guy that's in the audience, and everyone's shocked by this. Of course, she can't figure it out. But our main guy is the good guy here. He's going to come. He's going to tell her what ends up happening. This ends up getting her ass shot to death. Boom. Head explodes. She doesn't really have much that she can say after that. But he does try to do the right thing after being pushed into doing it in the first place. So he's a questionable good guy, but he takes the high road in the end. And let's see. His sister saves the day from him being killed by Drac. Drac is totally about to kill his ass, and then the Sis comes up, rear ends the car with the detective and Drac on the hood, throws him off. He jumps over, gets in the car, they take off. She saves the day. I feel like she could have used her scanner power and they could have taken on Drac together, but Drac's pretty damn tough, and I do like Drac's demise in this a lot. So we'll get there though. We're getting close. And then that detective that was in the car, they take over his body because there's a scanner that's in this like checkpoint little station there, and they make the guy drive through. And not only can the scanner not sense him, which I feel like he should be able to because he's a fucking scanner and he should be able to see that someone's being scanned in the moment in which they're being scanned, especially if he thinks something's weird, which he does. But he doesn't also notice that the guy's eyes are like almost completely white. Like you didn't notice that? I mean, the dude does look kind of old, so maybe his eyes aren't what they once were, but it's kind of a dead giveaway. This is a flaw in your abilities, that when you take over someone's mind, their eyes go like very translucent. So that's a dead giveaway. If you ever see somebody with eyes like that you know that don't have eyes like that, they've been scanned. They've been manipulated by a scanner. Anyways, so they use this guy. He goes in there and he ends up like he ends up going, and this doctor's in there, and they make the doctor fall on these needles, and then you think the doctor's like okay for a minute, so it's kind of like this total flip, but then the doctor just dies horribly from all the shit he was just injected with. So I think it's a really cool moment of like, they make him sit on a bunch of needles, inject him with all this shit, then he kind of laughs and comes up, and you're like, oh, whoa, is he a scanner? Like, what is this? What's happening now? And then he's just like, and he dies. That's great stuff, man. I actually really like that. And then we get another head explosion here on the detective guy, or whoever the hell this guy is, that they end up controlling. And this is great. This is an awesome head explosion, just like the first one. On par with it in my opinion. So really, really good, and definitely something that should get more credit, since the first one gets so much credit. But of course the first one is the first one. It's the one that did it first for this franchise, so of course it's going to get more praise, even if this one's better. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying even if it was much better, the first one just gets the praise regardless, because old is gold for most people. And then they try to decide how they're going to get past the guard, because this is why they did this whole shenanigans to begin with. And they just decide to drive their car right through him, right through his little freaking guard station. And I love it. Let's just drive a fucking car right through it. It's pretty great. And you can see his body sliding across the road as they like hit him. Good stuff there. Love that kind of stuff. And then there's like guards that make he makes the two guards shoot each other, like blow each other away, like dead, 100%. Both of them dead. They blast each other. Then a guy comes out, and those guys don't do anything to him, by the way. Then a guy comes out and shoots his sister with this ephemeral dart, so her powers are fucking gone for the moment. And what does he do to this guy? He just like spins him like Dizzy Devil from Tiny Toons, or like the Tasmanian Devil, until the guy passes out. It's like, so the guy who attacks your sister you let live, but the two guys who did nothing to you, you make completely blast each other to death. That seems unfair. That seems a little unbalanced. Maybe you could have just made them drop their weapons and then spun them until they passed out. You know what I mean? Like, there's no rhyme or reason for that. It's just like, you hurt my sister, let me spin you. Let me put you on the spin cycle. And then our main guy here is thrown through a window by Drac, and it's like a 20-foot fall, and if he's going straight back onto his back. But of course he lands on his side and then gets up and is completely fine. This is something we see in film all the time that I roll my eyes at every time I see it. I'm like, are you fucking serious? He would be broken. He would be so beat up. And he would have landed straight on his back, and he would have been winded. He would have been injured so bad. But of course, no. He just lands on his side, and he gets up, and he's just dusts himself off like Luke Skywalker, and gets back to the fight. Then Drac comes in, and he tries to overpower our dude here. I should have wrote his fucking name down, of course, but I didn't, like an asshole, like I always do. Or don't, should I say. And what happens is all of the test patients that were in this facility turn on Drac with our main guy and completely suck this guy dry. No, not in the porno sense. In a biological decimation. That still sounds like sex. You know what I mean. He's like condensed down to like a dried out mummy by the time they fucking, take enough power out of this guy. They scan him to death. All of them get together and join powers to take him out. I love that. I love that's how he meets his demise, because he's such a cocky prick who they try to turn multiple times. Like, they're using you, can't you see? And he's like, I like it. And I like that he says something like, power doesn't make you good, it makes you powerful. So I think that's his line. The way he delivers, it's really good. And I'm paraphrasing, I think. I might even have fucked up the line, but the way he says it and whatever the line is, I did quite like. But he's still the villain, and I very much want to see him die, which I do. And it's good. And then the main police chief guy, who's basically been at the forefront of all of this, the guy who's been controlling the whole thing, he tries to say, like, nothing to see here, of course. Our main guy comes out and exposes this to be bullshit, and the police chief goes after him, and then he uses his scanning power. He was going to let the guy go to jail or whatever, but then the guy, he tries to come after him with a gun, and so he uses his scanning powers against him and completely mutilates this guy. His face looks like the fucking some sideshow freaks, castle freak, elephant man looking thing, and then he like tells everyone who just watched him display, do this vulgar display of power, as Pazuzu would say in The Exorcist, or the Pantera record. He's like, you have nothing to fear here. Like, all is well. Don't worry. We mean you no harm, is what he says. I mean you no harm. We just saw what you did. We're fucking terrified of you. Look at that guy. He looks like the dude in RoboCop that gets hit by the bus. Are you fucking kidding me? Nothing. You mean me no harm. Look at this guy. Not the best selling point. Like, I just deformed that guy. I could have blown his head off, but I mean you no harm. Don't worry. I'm trustworthy. They were just believing he was the bad guy a minute ago. Then the plot gets twisted on them, and then a second later, this guy displays the scariest power any of these people would ever see in their entire life. And then he tries to reinforce, like, oh, but by the way, I would never do this on you. I mean you no harm. Just trust me. All is well. And everyone's like, that meme where it's like that little furry animal, like puppet looking thing, and his eyes are like this way and then that way. That's basically what they look like in the end of this movie, which is what they should look like, because that was so fucking funny. I'm like, yeah, good luck with that one, buddy. So overall, I actually liked this one probably as much as the first one. Of course, this one doesn't have the style. This one is a little more silly, but I really like the villain. I think he's a great follow-up villain. And it's just a fun movie. The first one's a little more serious. This one's a little bit more playful, a little bit more. It's got sequelitis. It's got 80s sequelitis, which to me is a lot of the times a good thing. I like that kind of shit. I like when they go nuts with films. Sometimes it doesn't work, but a lot of the times it does for me. And I'm a big sequel fan. Because I feel like with sequels, they just kind of like go for broke a lot of the times. And something like Pet Sematary 2, which I love. and most people hate. I just love the zaniness of it. I love how over the top everything is. And that's the same director as the first one, which is wild to me. This, of course, is not David Cronenberg, but I always like that, like, let's see what more we can do and just blow things out of proportion. And, of course, sometimes that doesn't work, but sometimes it does. And I quite enjoyed this one, and I look forward to Scanners 3, The Takeover. I have seen all of these, but my memory of them is completely shit. And of course, I view these films differently now than I used to because I have the channel and I have to somewhat know what I'm talking about. Not always. You know, obviously, I don't remember the guy's fucking name, and I'm sure I messed up on some of the details like I always do. But I'm just reporting back to you the things I noticed. If I'm wrong, correct me. Don't be a cunt about it. But if you are, I'm going to be a cunt back, and I'm going to post about it on Instagram, and I'm going to make fun of you, and we're all going to have a good laugh. So go for it. Let me know. Adios.